Evening, fifth graders. Tonight we're working with bar and circle graphs. It's kind of a fun little lesson we'll be working on tonight, and you'll be having some fun doing some graphing in class tomorrow. But we're going to be taking a look at bar and circle graphs. First of all, we have to kind of see, how are they the same? How are they different when we're looking at these? When would we use a bar graph? When do we want to use a circle graph? So I have, we'll jump back to this at the end. So I have a bar graph here, and I have a circle graph, okay? So how are they the same? Some ways that they're the same, and I'll write these things down so you can kind of see them as I'm talking. They both deal with vegetable crops, right? So they both have the same title. How else are they the same? Okay, they have the same vegetables, don't they? See another reason they're the same. They represent the same amount, okay? So they're the same amount. And what I mean by that is, right here, there's just as many tomatoes in this graph as there is in this graph. There's just as much zucchini in this graph as there is in this graph, okay? All that the person did when they were making these two graphs is they took the numbers of the tomatoes, zucchini, cucumbers, potatoes, and squash. They made a bar graph, and then they also did the same thing for a circle graph. Here's some ways that they are different, okay? I'm going to go ahead and draw a line here so we know why they are different. And this is kind of important. A bar graph gives the amount, okay? It gives the number amount. I'm just going to hashtag, okay? That means number amount. What I mean by that is, right here I know I have about 65 tomatoes. Right here I have about 50 zucchini bushels. Right here I have about 45 cucumbers. Potatoes, it looks like I have 30, and then squash, it looks like I have about, let's say, 15, okay? But I'm looking over here at the tomatoes on the pie chart, it deals with a percent. So it doesn't mean I have 32 tomatoes, doesn't mean I have 25 zucchini. What this means, kids, is they took it as a percent total. And what we mean by that is this. Let's say the tomatoes here. So there's 65 tomatoes here. So we're going to take the 60 tomatoes. And if there's 65 tomatoes, we have to take that out of a whole. Okay? Well, I want you to keep this in mind. To find out what this percent is. Let's say, for example, this equals 32% of the total crop. Okay? And if I'm using a calculator here, and if I do 65 divided by 200, I get about 33%. So what I have here is, because right here I'm kind of ballparking about where this is at, right? I'm going to take a look at the zucchini. I'm just put it, I'll spell out zucchini. Zucchini. That's 25%. I'm looking at my zucchini right here. It's 50, so this is 50 out of 200. So I'm using this data from this side, would be about 25%, because that'd be 1/4. So what we're trying to figure out here is with the pie chart, we know this is about out of roughly 200 vegetables. And all they're doing for each one of these things is they're taking the amount of the zucchinis or of the potatoes, and they're dividing it by 200 to get the percent. And the percent always goes up to 100%. So a full circle would be 100%. And that's how they can find out what is in there. So you see how they're both a little different? This one goes with the percent total. And this one right here actually gives us what is the total. When you're doing your science fair projects, I'm going to want a bar graph. Okay. Now we're going to make our own bar graph. So tomorrow when you come into class, you're going to make a bar graph. What I wanted to do is I wanted to make a bar graph on who your favorite Nintendo character is. Okay? I have Mario, Luigi, Koopa, or I should say call that person Bowser. I grew up in Japan. He was named Koopa. But Bowser, Yoshi, we have Donkey Kong, we have Wario, and we have the princess, or another name for her is Peach. Okay? We have to label this graph before we begin, because tomorrow it's gonna look just like this for you. How we're gonna label this is we're gonna call this favorite Nintendo characters. Okay. On the side here, we have to label our y-axis, and let's call this number of votes. Okay, we're gonna count the votes. We also have to label our count here. So this little bottom here, I'm gonna change my colors here. It's gonna be 0. This line's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so we can only go up to 14 votes on here. And now all you have to do is fill in the bars as you go. Let's say Mario had 3 votes. So you're going to go to the 3. You're going to come down. Actually, kind of putting it in the wrong spot. Take a look here. Going up to the 3 right here. And you go down. This bar is all Mario. Then I want to see how I skip 2 spots. Then I want you to skip 2 spots. And then there's going to be Luigi. Let's say Luigi had 12 votes. Going up here to Luigi. Luigi's pretty cool character. We have 12 votes. We're going to go ahead and fill his bar in. Hopefully you can color a little better tomorrow. Let's say Koopa, because he's scary, only has 2 votes. You see how I skipped 2 lines? You're going to be doing that tomorrow. Make sure I want you to skip two spaces. Yoshi had 8 votes. Let's go up here to Yoshi. 8 votes. Can go ahead and go down. Let's say Wario, or let's say Donkey Kong had 5 votes. Let's say Wario had 0 votes. So I'm just going to leave that one blank. And Peach had 14 votes. Peach is pretty fun to drive with on Mario Kart. He's a good driver. Perfect. That's what your bar graph looks like. Okay. Now, if I wanted to make a percent circle out of this, and I want to be using my class as a whole, let's say it's your votes, I would add all these votes up. That would be my denominator. And then I would take Mario's votes, 3, and let's say my denominator, all those votes equal, I'm just going to kind of guess right now, let's say it's 30. I would take Mario's votes, the 3 votes there, and go 3 divided by 30. Okay, I would get a decimal, which would be my percent. We're going to be working with percent circles here in the future, but tonight, I just want you to work on bar graphs, but this is how you would fill out a bar graph. Tomorrow, you're going to be doing a bar graph on after-school snacks, okay? Hopefully this helped with your video. I was able to keep it shorter tonight. Look forward to working with you in class tomorrow.